Welcome back, friends. This is Solomon Jagwe. I'm back with another quick insight. Today is an exciting day because they've just announced the official release of the Move.ai app on the App Store. So, which means that Move.ai officially is going mainstream and everyone will have access to it. Today's video is going to be talking about this particular video that I created. Right, this MetaHuman dunking a basketball in this basketball court, and I shared that video on my YouTube channel, so you can see the video from here. Actually, let me turn that up, but you can see me dunking. Clearly, this is not a regulation like basketball, but I just wanted to make sure that I could actually get up there and dunk. I wish I could actually dunk in real life. But anyway, so that was my opportunity for me to dunk. And I was able to put this together inside of the Unreal Engine 5.1. And that's one of the awesome things that about Move.ai data is that it works on MetaHumans. And some people have been asking me about the simulation of the cloth that is by 3D Draper. And so this was me out there in a basketball court. So I used 6 iPhone 8s that are refurbished. I got them from Amazon and laid them out in this area right here. So let me go back here. So the recommended setup, if you have 6 iPhones, this is the layout. So you're in the center. And after, like, once I set up the whole rig on the different tripods around it, and I made sure to get tripods that are adjustable, that I could crank up and down. Let me go back here. And so I want to see if I can pause it right here. So like right here is like there's a handle that makes it much easier for me to adjust the head of the iPhone once it's mounted, and I'll show a video here of the orientation as you're putting it on the tripod. And make sure that you have enough space, from the center to the like about 10 meters to that. Now, if you're using like 2 iPhones, then that's going to be a different setup. But for me, again, I'm wanting to walk you through what I used. So I used like this setup of 6 iPhones. And here you can see, if you go to the Move.ai website under the mobile device tab, you can see the different recommendations. If you're one person, like if I had 2 people who are dunking, then I would need a different setup. But I wanted to maximize the number of phones. I was using one person, and the maximum volume is 6 meters by 6 meters. If you're using that kind of layout, minimum volume is going to be 2 meters by 2 meters. Okay. So in this video, again, one of the challenges that I encountered was the Wi-Fi. So make sure you have a good hotspot, right? So if you have like a phone that you're going to be out there doing in the like outside. So imagine if I had gone inside a rec center. There was a rec center near me, right? But I wanted to be outside and be able to show this outside dunking on this basketball. So one of the things that I didn't have, of course, Wi-Fi. Well, the Wi-Fi was working in the main building, but I didn't have like good Wi-Fi. So I used my Android phone as a hotspot to be able to have all these the 6 iPhones connected. But you could also have an iPad that has a hotspot. But I again recommend that you make sure you have a good bandwidth and the data bandwidth is high enough. Otherwise, it's gonna keep falling off and on. Like the different phones kept disappearing until I switched to my Android phone. So they also sell some things that have some like hotspots, like just specifically for that. So you could buy one like that one and use it outside. So in order for you to really get a good connection for the phones, that's why I'm harping on it. Please, please, please make sure you have a good Wi-Fi connection. Okay. So when I recorded the videos, I used the Move.ai app, which you can find on the App Store. And in that app itself handles the 6 iPhones. So depending on how many iPhones that you have, I was using 6. It was able to show me on the screen the 6 iPhones that I was using. So I was using my iPhone 10 to be able to capture the iPhones that were set up around it. Okay. And so the data, once I've finished capturing all the data, I then had to go to Move.ai and upload it So this is the website, Move.ai. And when you sign up or once you've signed up, you can log in here. You can just click login, and then you can be able to start your login and put your password and username and be able to log in. Okay. And once you're logged in, it's going to look something like this. Okay. And it's going to create sessions for each phone. Like it's automatically going to upload the cameras. So let me go back real quick here. After you've done recording, right? It's the iPhone, the app on the iPhone or on your app, your tablet is going to have the option to start all the phones at the same time, so they're synced. But also you have to walk back and forth to each camera. So make sure that once you start, you're going to do two sets of motion. One is a calibration set that you're going to be starting off with the center, and then you start off in a T-pose. And let me see if I can actually bring up one of those videos so you can see it. So this is a calibration video. Let me go up at the top and I'm going to play it. Let me actually go all the way. So I start off in a T-pose, clap 3 times, and go back in a T-pose, and then walk towards each camera, right? Each one, so back and forth. If you're in a small space, make sure you do like smaller in a shorter set of footsteps. If you have enough space, you can go all the way towards the phones, but don't go too close because then you're gonna go out of frame. So if I go to the second camera, if I go to the calibration take, you can see this one as well. So it shows you how each camera was able to capture the different takes of the calibration. This calibration is extremely important because without it, you won't be able to calibrate, rather to process the other data successfully. It needs this calibration, and you also have to indicate where the first clap happens. Like see, like right there. So take note, have like a notepad where you can write down the beginning of the first clap and also the end of the last clap. So it's going to be 11 for me, and between 11 seconds and 12 seconds. So it's going to ask you that as you're going through the process. Okay. And each camera has that kind of take. And the other takes then that have the basketball itself, I also made sure that I start off with, again, T-pose. I turned that way, and actually you can see it in the, I'll show you. So that's the T-pose that started off that way. And if I go to the video over here, and let's go to this part right here, you can see that calibration take, go into T-pose, go back, and then, so you have to do a calibration take and then also do the same thing when you have to clap 3 times when you're starting the second take. So make sure you first stop the recording for the first take and then start a recording for the new take that has to do the actual basketball or whatever you're going to be doing. So that is extremely important. And so let me go back into the dashboard. And when it's going to create a project and a session. So the project is the overall project that is going to have all the sessions in between. You could have multiple sessions, but once you go into your session, then that session is you're gonna pick up, like for example, this was basketball, and you can see other sessions that I've done in the past. So you go to that particular session, all the videos that are in the particular session are going to be automatically uploaded to this session. And you have, the first step that you got to do is make sure you calibrate. So when you go to hit calibration, it's going to ask you which videos are going to be in the calibration, and you can check enable auto video selection. So when I click on this, it automatically select all the other videos that have this calibration take number 2. So you can see how it picked that, that, right? So I did a take initially that I wasn't too happy with, so I did another take of it, and it will be able to pick up that. So that was number 1. So if all your calibration takes have number 1 on them, it would automatically select them. But if you don't want to auto select, you can just turn that off and then go through and pick the takes yourself to all the 6 cameras. But if this is the handy part where you can just click one time, it automatically goes through and selects all of them. Next, you go ahead and save the selection, right? and then you confirm. So once you confirm, then you have to give it a name, choose the actor, and I am only about 5'8", so I'm about 1.76 meters. This is my son over here. And so you can also create a new profile, put in the dimensions in meters. So if you're like 6 feet tall, put in the equivalent of how a taller 6 foot person will be in terms of meters. And you can do that in, just go to Google and do a conversion. You can give it a name, and then remember that number that I told you to maintain, so that to record. So this is the minute mark, the second mark. So you put 11 over here, and then the end clip will be 12 seconds over here. Okay. And also you can calibrate the entire process, or you can trim it and just do that. So, and then when you're done, you click save and run. And once it's done, you're going to get this result right here. So once this check mark comes on, then it knows that's when you know your calibration is done. And then if you click on the sync itself, you can do you see a preview. And let me see if I can maximize this. You can see a preview of all the shots that were synced, and that is because you are able to put in that first clap and the last clap, and that's how it's able to identify every single one of these claps. So when you play back, you can see in slow motion how it was able to capture that clap. And that is the amazing thing about Move.ai, is that it's able to sync all the footage that you're able to score. So these are the 6 camera iPhones that I was able to capture. And I try to be in the center where you want everything to be. So you can see the layout. There are 3 over here. And then on this side is another set over here. So there are altogether 6 of them, right? So this is when you know that you had a good calibration take, right? Let's go out of this and close that. And then it's also going to do the calibration quality. This is extremely important because then you know which camera is having issues. And if you need to, please do another calibration take. Because if you don't have this, well, you won't be able to see this unless if you take a laptop with you to your shooting location, but you may have to wait. So what I do is I usually make sure that the layout that we're talking about, this right here, the reason why that you're seeing this one camera not having good quality here is because of like when you look at the layout of where I put these cameras, I didn't have a camera right here because I was afraid that the ball might hit it. So I tried to angle it a little bit over here. And so that's why when I go back to here and I go to the layout of the cameras itself, you can see how it is laid out. So there's like a gap right here. So I am very conscious, like try to be conscious of where all your cameras are, because I knew that because a basketball hoop is going to be here, I try to stay within this area. And you can actually mark the area on the ground so that you know you're not going out of that. You have to stay visible to all these cameras, right? So Move.ai processes, it gives you the status, it shows you the sync, the calibration quality, and the camera layout. So in spite of this camera having like almost no quality, these are the cameras compensate, right? So camera 1 still contributes, but it just shows you the quality. So camera number 6 has the best quality right now, but it shows you all this. So I think preferably you want to have at least, you want to have like all of them like have like these 5 bars or probably 6 bars. That's when you have a good camera. Can you imagine that even though this it didn't have the best quality, or you can see that I still got really good results from that. So let me show you something really important, right? Is that over here, and I really want to be transparent. So right here, see how as I am going out of frame, I try to stay here because remember there's no camera over here. But watch what happens, and this is the, the beauty of editing. Yes, you're gonna get mocap data, but it's not gonna be the best in every frame. So that's why storytelling is about framing the shot. But I wanted to show you the challenges that you're gonna encounter. Is that because of that layout, as the character is coming out of frame, you see this right here. You see that? the feet are kind of offset because that camera is, I'm too close to that camera, right? And even right here, you can see there's like a little bit of, yeah, offset. And then it clears up as it goes, because now every camera can see they can't see me. But as I go out to the other side, right there, I got too close to that camera. And you can actually, if I go back to this mobile, so depending on how close you get, so you have to have markers on the ground. It does help. I know this is markerless mocap, but it does help to show, to like mark your boundaries, so you know you don't get too close to the camera, because once you get too close to the camera, you're going to run into issues like this, where some of the feet are not in frame for a particular set of cameras. So, and then it cleans up. So as you can see that it cleans up, and then once it comes back where all the cameras can see, then I'm able to dunk nicely. So you see over there as well, and I can zoom in a little bit so you can see. So that is out of frame, right? The cameras are not there. So if you look at the video itself, you can see that over there, once I got to that part right there, I was really out of frame. And so that data, there's no data there for the cameras to be able to record and for Move.ai to capture. But overall, I mean, if you look at the beginning part of this, you can see how well it was able to track, and also the ball itself. Now I'm going to be talking about the ball tracking, because what people don't know is that Move.ai does track props as well. But the props that it tracks are balls. Like if you're playing soccer or basketball, a ball has to be big enough for it to track, right? So that particular one, the ball itself initially, and I can show you another, let me go to another sequence, this one right here. So if I play back this sequence, you can see that I woke up, clap, 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 turn around, and then when I try to pick up the basketball, I don't have data on that. So that data comes from this ball right here, okay? And so let's go back. That once you have the session done, right, and you have a calibration tech, like a calibration tech completed, this calibration, then you have the ability to do text. The texts are where you actually get to select the videos that have the final like sequence of you playing the sport. For me, this was dunking. And again, I have auto selection, so it will go through and select all the cameras that are in that sequence. And because they're automatically named, it's going to be able to identify them. Okay. And then I'll go back. So once you're done that, picking that, again, try to see where the first clap happens. Write it down, and the last clap, because that information is going to be handy. And also write down where you're going to start, like where you want the calibration to start. Okay, so if it's 0.8, then that's where you're going to start, and also where you finish up. Look, at the end, I do the same thing. After I do my basketball session, I go back into the T-pose, try to maintain the same posture and orientation, and then do the same thing just for it to be safe. And also note down the parts, because sometimes you don't want to process every extra stuff that is not even needed. Process what is needed, what's important, and then click save and confirm, and then go through, give it a name. Here, the calibration name, the title of the tech, and how many actors there are, right? And you can see you can go up to 20 actors, which is incredible. And then they put single football. Right now it says football, but mine was a basketball. If you want to track the ball itself. So this, if you don't do that, if you don't track the football, then you won't be able to come and be able to apply the data, import the data, and then you won't have the option of that prop data. Okay. So again, make sure you do that. Indicate when the last clap and first clap are, first clap and last clap, and also the process time. So this is why you need your notes that you've taken, the beginning and ending, and when you're done, you save. And then once it's done processing, it depending on how long your footage or your session is, you'll be able to it will take anywhere between an hour or so or more. And hopefully this system is going to improve where it gets like take a shorter period of time, because again, the advantage of motion capture suite is that you get the data instantly. So I'm hoping that this system will also improve on how quick. I know they're working together with other companies to make sure that the processing is made even faster. So when it's done processing, right, you can also click on the video preview over here. So you see the quality clap, and then you see how the data is actually being tracked. Isn't that amazing? So that's why it's important for you to select that prop and be able to track the ball. Otherwise, if you don't have it there, it won't be tracked. Okay. And it's a little bit offset here. So in the Unreal Engine, you can always adjust the offset a tiny bit. But the bigger the volume, the more the number of cameras, the more accurate this is going to be. Okay. So let me close this, because now you know you've successfully captured the data. The way you see the calibration quality, you can, that's the same way, like it shows you the video result preview. And so when you're done, you're ready to then download. So click download over here, and it's going to show you what you can download. So you can download one that's the FBX prop. You can download Maya files. You can download Blender files, right? If you're going to go into the Unreal Engine, then you need to use the Unreal Engine rig. So part of this, part of the tech itself, like when I go through here and do the tech and select, you select the cameras that are needed, and you confirm that, and all this is set, and right, all this is set. You can see the total number of credits it's going to take, right? This is important because you don't want to process something that is not. That's why it's important to limit, like to be able to trim what you want. You don't want to trim things. You don't want to process things that you don't need. So it's very important for you to take notes of where you want to start. And so let's say this was 11 and this is 12. Process entire video, save. Clap duration can't be greater than 60 seconds. So this is 11 seconds. No, sorry, I put it in the wrong place. I'm glad I made that mistake, right? And then press over here, 12. Sorry about that. And then press save. So I'm not going to process because I've already processed this, but be careful how you're doing that, because again, you be careful of these credits right here. So now it shows you the number of credits that it's going to cost you. So just budget accordingly. Okay, let's close that. So once all that is done, you could be able to select the rig that you want to download. And so let me go back to my session over here. And let's go back Solo Dunk. And these are the different texts that I've done, that I've run, and you can also do a new run, right? And when you do the new run, this is where you select fingers, and you also select the rig. So now they have multiple rigs. They have Ready Player Me, Genius, Discern, Maximum, Mixamo, Female, Male, UE5, UE5, Mannequin, Queen, MetaHuman, Roblox, Move.ai. It's incredible. So they even have iClone. And so what I do is I do the MetaHuman, right? And so just pick the MetaHuman, and you can actually see the rig over here. And I make sure that because I have a basketball, I include the basketball in it. And then I make sure that the fingers are on, and then the calibration, make sure that's the calibration calibration tech that you created. That was so important. And then over here, you can also drop down and do the different formats. I'm downloading FBX, but you can also do BVH and all these other formats. And then it also shows you the credits. Okay, so that is important. So when you're done, successfully click the run and wait for it. When the run is ready, you can then click on the resulting preview over here, so you can see it. In each take that you do shows you the preview. So this was so if you see, this is a different rig in here, right? And this is the MetaHuman rig over here, because I want to take the MetaHuman data to the Unreal Engine. Okay, and you can see the quality. Again, the ball is being tracked, which is great. And then and you can also see the sync itself to see how it looked when you are syncing, right? This is the actual video that has the basketball, not the calibration. Okay, and then go ahead and click download over here. And then here is where you get to select the different files, right? Because I chose a MetaHuman, so I have the prop, and you can also do the retargeted file, and then you can also have the additional files. You can do the rig, preview video, and the cameras themselves. And when you're done, once you've downloaded those files, then you will have this sequence of files over here. So for example, I downloaded Blender files. They look like that. And then also iClone files, they look like that. So I can take this inside of Character Creator 4 and automatically converts it into data that I can apply to my character in iClone. And then MetaHuman, that's what you get over here. And once that was done, I was able to come into the Unreal Engine then and import the mocap data here. And so I'll copy this and let me create a new folder and let me import it in here. So you right click into the folder, go import, select the MetaHuman file. And right now I just need it to be applied to the MetaHuman skeleton. So type in meta and scroll down and find the MetaHuman base skeleton. And actually, it's important to see the path. If you hover over it, you can see it's in the common, female, medium, right? So be very careful when you're picking the one that you're going to use. And then I usually reset to default over here. And I also make sure that I select animation length, exported time. And depending on, I usually, to speed it up, I can do 30 frames per second, but I just do reset to default, and which is what they recommend, and then click import. And then depending on how long the animation is, this process can take a little bit of time or a lot of like a longer period of time. So you can see it importing. And it's done. So if I double click on it right here, you can see the animation itself right there. So that's how you know it's you've successfully imported it. And now that that animation is there, I just need to add a sequence. So what you do is just go to add level sequence over here. And once you've added a sequence, then add your character. This is MetaHuman right here to the scene. Let me just rewind. And once you add your character, then on the body itself, go ahead and add an animation. Like if you click on animation over here, and then type in the name of the animation itself that you downloaded. So which one's solo dunk BBBB. So that's what you add here, right? And once it's applied, then really that's all you gotta do. The character will be animated and walk around. So now, in terms of the basketball itself, so I'm gonna have to do like a different tutorial for the ball tracking because it's a little bit more in depth. But this particular sequence, you notice, doesn't have the ball tracking. But let me bring up the sequence that has that one, which is this one. And you notice that I added the ball, the solo dunk ball prop, right? That one right there. And then I added a transform track. And the animation, I added the animation of the basketball. So when I click here, you can see the solo dunk BB ball. That one, I also went through the same process where I imported it like that, imported the prop. And once it was imported, so let's go back, import prop. and I needed to give it the skeleton, the ball skeleton right here. And again, pay attention to the location of it. Make sure you do, and then reset to default, and then import. So that animation, once the ball animation is imported, then you'll be able to assign it to the ball prop itself, right? Just like that. And then make sure you add a transform, an attached track. So like, for example, you go to track, attach, and then the solo, attach it to the ball prop. The model, I'm trying to see if I can, how best to explain this. The model of, there are two models in this space. One is the data, right? And then I have the basketball parented to the data, but you can't just parent it inside here. See how I have it parented? That didn't work. It works in the viewport, but it won't work in rendering. So make sure you also add, you have this ball right here, add it to the sequence, and then add an attach, node, and that attach node is going to be, and then attach it to the ball prop. Yeah, I have to do a better like tutorial for that, like, so you can actually see it. But this is just an overview of how I managed to attach the basketball. So if it's a soccer, it's the same thing. You can parent it to the ball itself, the ball data, because it was tracked. Anyway, so, and that's how I was able to then set it up. I had to do a little bit of moving over the character to line up with the hoop, like at the moment where the character is about to dunk, like so. I just picked the character here and moved him around until he was lined up properly. And then I also had to lower my rim. Fortunately, this rim was able to go up and down, like all the way up there, and so that I could actually have the same level as you see in the video. So, that's a mouthful, but overall, that's how I was able to bring this scene together. And again, with the challenges that I'm pointing out, is that make sure that your layout, the cameras are seeing everything. And so before you even start recording, if you're alone, it's very important to go to each camera and look through the screen of that camera and see if it's actually seeing, like, have something like as a reference point in the center. If you have another person you can work with, even better, because that person can then help you go through each camera, each iPhone, and make sure that they can see you. Okay. So, well, I hope that was helpful, guys, but I'm just showing you the potential of Move.ai, some of the challenges that I encountered, but also the beauty of the result, because ultimately the final result is what counts, because you want to tell a story. And for me, I was inspired by the all-star, dunk contest. So I wanted to create something that I could share with the community, and it turned out really nice. So thank you again, guys, for joining me today. Again, so thank you so much, Move.ai team, for your support. And again, I encourage you to go to Move.ai, sign up. And right now, the price of Move.ai is $365 a year. That's about $1 a day. And go ahead and try it out, but also check out, here's the pricing over here. You can see how they've broken it down. Make sure you go to the App Store and download the app itself, Move.ai. It's available for the iPhone right now and iPad, as you can see the different ones. And again, when you start recording, you don't even have to really log into each phone. As long as the master phone, the one that is hosting the session, is running, then you'll be able to record all the footage onto the main phone. So, and then upload to Move.ai. But make sure you download the most recent app, and make sure you have the app on each of the phones. It has to be the same version, otherwise it's not going to work. I've encountered that. I had one phone that didn't have like the most recent version of the app, and it turned out it wasn't showing up on the main iPhone 10 that I was using. So I was using an iPhone 10 to be the master or the host, and then you can also use an iPad to be able to be the master host. And as you can see the layout over here. Okay. So guys, thank you again so much for joining me today. I hope this was helpful. And again, please share questions in the comments in this video so that I can answer them. And if I don't know anything, I'll be able to touch base with the Move.ai team to best answer that. Thank you so much again. Thank you guys for joining me. This was so much fun. Man, I think the industry is changing as we right before our very eyes, and you can see the potential of what can be done. And I know this is gonna get better and better. But man, what a time to be alive, right? it's a dare to dream big, guys. Dare to dream big. May you continue to use this technology to tell stories, because the challenge of investing in almost like, if you have like 10 people who are playing basketball, you would have had to buy like 10 mocap suits, right? But you could capture a volume where you have multiple people, up to 20 people, especially if you have like GoPros, which capture even more space. GoPros have a wider angle lenses, so you will be able to see more of the space, and you're able to capture way more volume than what an iPhone can do. So you can do two things. You can use an iPhone, or you can use a GoPro. And there are even more phones more cameras that Move.ai team is partnering with to make this process even cheaper. So altogether for these phones, it was about, I think the price is going to keep changing because they're refurbished, but between $700 and $900, you're able to invest in, again, that many iPhones. So, but even two phones can work. But if you want hand tracking and ball tracking, it's definitely recommended to have more than 3 phones, at least 6 phones. That is what I needed to be able to get really good. But even then, you can see that some challenges with the fingers. That depends on, again, how far away, and also the lighting itself of the prop. So those things are important. Okay. And guys, again, this was just me showing you the process of how I was able to bring my Move.ai basketball dunk to life using Move.ai app, using Move.ai, the platform itself, and also taking advantage of the subscription itself. Okay, so please go ahead and check it out, and let me know if you create something really cool. Please share, and thank you so much. Bye for now.